So let's begin with just setting the intention. I have a nice list of things I'd like to do, but I'm completely open to shifting as the moment calls. But to begin with the intention, when we go like this, I thought about this for us, wisdom and compassion together. And our intention, my intention, is to receive the blessings of enlightened beings from the past, the present, the future, to be right here, right now, to fill our hearts and minds with inspiration, clarity, luminosity. I have a whole series of practices. So let me tell you where I'm coming from so you know a little bit. I don't know how much Eve mentioned to all of you, but born and raised in New York City, Greenwich Village, Argentine mama, American dad, physicist, dancer. I have lived in, I did my junior and senior year living in Nepal, studied Tibetan language, Sanskrit, Nepali, studied a little bit of Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, did tantric, a little bit of tantric dance. And then I ended up going with my mom to India to go to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's monastery for teachings, and we thought we'd go for 2 months. I ended up staying 4 years. And as my Tibetan got better, then I began translating, interpreting public and private teachings for many different lamas of all different lineages, Kagyu, Geluk, Nyingma, etc. But I also, right across the street from the monastery, was Namgyal Monastery, where I did analytic debate, which is another way of sharpening the mind. So apropos this, the hands, right? These amazing hands. And we'll do a little practice on this later. But when we say wisdom and compassion, when we think about wisdom, another way of understanding that is insight into the nature of reality. And often in, at least in the Buddhist tradition, we think of Manjushri. And if you've seen a Manjushri is this manifestation of the wisdom, the insight, that clear mind, holding a sword with flames on the sword. And that all represents qualities of the mind. Clarity, burning through defilements, delusions. So that's one whole aspect of where insight and wisdom can come. On the other hand, compassion, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Chenresik. Chenresik in Tibetan means an eye in the palm of each hand. An eye to be able to walk down the streets, to hear people, and with that eye we actually see other people's suffering, their pain, their hurt. And if you see some of the images of the Bodhisattva of compassion, it can be 2 arms, 6 arms, 8 arms, 1,000 arms, and there's an eye in the palm of each hand, oriented outwards to see others, to actually let compassion manifest. So for several years, I used to do a practice where I would become Avalokiteshvara, and I'd walk the streets of Nepal. And the practice was an eye in each palm of each hand, seeing others and beaming love. So when we do like this is wisdom and compassion integrated. More to be said about that. So let's just start with grounding, a little bit of grounded practice. So I'd like us to take the palms of our hands and orient them inwards in this time, over your heart. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or bring your gaze down, but take a position of ease and dignity. And the palm over your heart. Literally feel your body breathing. Breathing in and out. Gradually, you might begin to feel your heartbeat in the palm of your hand. releasing, lungs breathing, hearts beating. And considering that just as each of us have our own hearts and lungs, body, mind, right this moment in this room, each person's hearts are beating, lungs breathing, wishing to be well, wishing to be seen. Just like me. Letting the mind gradually settle on an awareness of the breath. Letting your mind and body really arrive here. And as we think about these amazing bodies that we have, with each heartbeat in your body, you're sending nourishment, glucose, oxygen, blood flow into more than 30 trillion cells that make up the body. Each heartbeat, each breath brings nourishment. "30 trillion cells, right this moment, moving, shifting, interacting, interconnected. Working to sustain this person from moment to moment. "30 trillion cells. And not only the cells, but there's also about 30 trillion little creatures that live on our skin, inside our body, in our gut, that coexist, that nourish and are nourished by those 30 trillion cells from moment to moment. A massive living organism, community, encapsulated in one person. So when we breathe in, and when our heart beats, it's beating for countless others. So now take a deep, deep breath at your own pace. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And come back to this visual world of appearance. Hi, Okra. You too, Okra. So I'm trained as a human cognitive-affective neuroscientist, brain imaging, fMRI, EEG, trained as a clinical psychologist. As I mentioned, spent many, many years, 6.5 years, India, Nepal, and then also traveling in Tibet with one of my Tibetan teachers. Welcome. And so I have many different perspectives, and I have many different ways of trying to make sense. And I've been working really hard this last fall trying to make sense. And one of the things that I want to really, one theme, there's several themes, but one thing is really this notion of appearance, right? So when you look at me right this moment, maybe this comes from the debate courtyard when we're doing analytic debate, which is really a lot of fun. One thing, as I just pointed out, is when you see another person, or we see this okra, or a person, or a living being, we automatically see yourself as one solid entity, right? The way things appear is not the way they exist. This is a beautiful, functional, optical illusion. 30 trillion cells right this moment, about 30 trillion creatures, virus, bacteria, other little organisms, right this moment, embedded in this. And every minute, approximately 1 million cells die, programmed through genetics. It's called apoptosis. It's completely normal to give way to another million cells to be generated from minute to minute. So when I see this thing that looks so solid, independent, not changing, that's how it looks like. But that's not the way it actually exists. So in the debate courtyard, we used to debate a lot about these things, the monks, for 2 years. Appearance and behind the appearance, the emotion and the things that are driving behind the emotion, and even with thought. So there's several different practices that I made a whole list. We'll see how many we get through to try to just point a little bit about this. But first I wanted to bring at least the one of the Buddhist definitions of consciousness. So in Tibetan, it's called selrik, selwa rikpa, which means luminous and knowing. So literally, when we get to the debate courtyard, you start with the monks and the nuns, and you start debating what's the definition of consciousness. Luminous and knowing. So what's luminous mean? Light-filled, reflective. So like right this moment, when you just experience your own awareness, your consciousness, right this moment, what is this quality of luminosity, light, reflective nature? Actually, I find that difficult to connect to sometimes. So I'm going to give you an image that I did not create. Think about a time either in Golden Gate Park or in a mountain where you came upon a body of water, a lake, the surface of the water. And it was a sun-filled day, and you could see the reflection off the surface of the water. This is one of the images that they mentioned in the texts, this reflective quality of the mind, that it is constantly reflecting, taking in light, luminosity, shifting. What does it mean to actually connect with that quality of the mind? Knowing, rikpa, awareness. That one of the fundamental natures of our consciousness is to know the object. To know the object, whether it's external or internal. And I would suggest that all of these practices or meditations, or gom in Tibetan, or bhavna in Sanskrit, these are all methods, methodologies, techniques. And in the traditional texts, there are over 100,000 different practices. Because people are different, individual differences. What works for one person doesn't necessarily help another person. Or the same practice for me when I was 20 is not what I need when I'm 63. Hence, more than 100,000 different techniques to be able to make contact, to taste the quality of our own mind. This luminosity, this knowing, this wisdom or insight, Manjushri's sword, flaming sword, to cut through illusions, delusions, defilements, and the compassion to actually care about others. So there's a whole program of development here, which is actually incredible. When I think about the Dharma and what we're going through right now, what a freaking contrast of qualities, of values. So that's why we start with this intentionality of bodhicitta, this intention to awaken, to become familiar. That's another translation for the word bhavna that's used in Sanskrit, is to familiarize or to cultivate seeds in the field. It actually comes from agriculture, that word, and later was co-opted to mean meditation. To cultivate qualities, seeds in the mind or in the field that come to fruition that bring us release. Little freedoms. Release. Not only for our own benefit, but for the benefit of others. So we can actually navigate. The other thing, so it actually has an agricultural start, these words, some of these words. And the other thing I want to mention is we're sitting inside right now. Almost all the practices, when they were developed and when they were taught and when they were practiced, were done outdoors by a river, a stream, a tree, a forest, a mountainside, on a rock, not in square rooms. I just need to point that out because now I'm completely moving into climate stuff. And it's a very interesting thing, thinking about what we have done with, it keeps changing, but all of these practices were done outside. They were meant to be done in the elements, earth, water, fire, air, wind, collectively. I just want us to keep that in mind. And often many of the sutras begin sitting at this, underneath this tree. Shakyamuni Buddha taught this. So, just to keep that in mind as well. So maybe, if there are people like Mark Coleman and others who actually teach whole courses, not inside a room, but out in nature. So, let's start. I want everyone. Is there anybody here who you can sit or you can stand? But actually, I would like us to do a practice. And I was thinking of you. But if you're comfortable, do you mind standing and doing this practice? This one involves. I will lift this. What I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to guide you through the practice, but I'm going to ask you to put the palm, again, the hands. There's a theme here, the hands. I'm going to ask you to put the palm of your hand facing up, and actually it's going to be both hands. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and we're going to use this amazing human ability of visualization. And I want us all to be the scientists that we are, and bring a sense of curiosity and to what we're actually experiencing. So if you close your eyes, your palms are out in front of you. I'm going to ask you to do something in a moment to remember different instances, and with each thing that you remember, a pebble, a small pebble, lands in the palm of your left hand. So I'd like you to scan your memory and think about the things that make you feel dis-ease, distress, dysregulated. It could be a small thing, big thing, recent or old, and with each thought, like, oh, I remember when I said something nasty to my brother, a little pebble lands in the palm of my left hand. So just gently begin an inventory, a recollection of things that maybe I have done or things that have happened that bring me lack of ease of mind. And if you want to sit, that's okay too, if you don't feel comfortable standing. But with each remembrance, a pebble drops into the palm of your left hand. Then shifting our attention to the palm of your right hand, what are things in your life that bring you joy, well-being, happiness? Think of different instances or things, and with each remembrance, a small pebble lands in the palm of your right hand. Go ahead. Things that bring you joy, happiness. And now, which hand feels heavier? Your left or your right? Now what I'd like you to do is to literally bring your left hand and all the pebbles that are in the palm of your left hand, slowly bring your hand down towards the earth and let go of all those things that bring hurt. Let them fall to the ground. And similarly, drop your right hand down towards the ground and let all those pebbles in your right hand fall to the earth. What does it feel like to release those contents of the mind, memories, sources of joy and pain, releasing them? And now if you bring your hands together, literally rub the palms of your hands together. And then bring those palms to cover your eyes. You'll notice the warmth. And then bring those warm hands to your heart. To experience joy means I also experience pain. To experience bliss, I also experience suffering. They go hand in hand. And just as I, me, myself, have causes and conditions of happiness and suffering, pain, pleasure, disease, all living beings, human and animals, also experience these. The full catastrophe of joy and suffering. So gently open your eyes and just see the people in the room, and people online, you can see me, fellow human beings, human animals that we are, vulnerable, sensitive, capable of feeling joy, happiness, pleasure, and also feeling suffering, hurt, jealousy, anger. The whole shebang. Okay, sit down. Okay, so one of the themes here is more visceral experience. Sometimes meditations can get very heady, abstract. Nothing wrong with that. I love it. But anyone, what did you just feel? What did you just notice about your own? I call this the research laboratory. It's free. You don't need a grant, although I write grants all the time. You don't need a penny, although I spend lots of money on doing research. This beautiful brain, heart, mind, body, exquisite as it is, this is the ultimate research laboratory, and we have it with us 24/7. There is no more important research to do than this. As much as many of us love technology, there is no outer technology that's going to bring the deep, transformative insight and compassion. Even though I wish it, but it will not. Sir, what did you notice in your hands? Oh, yes, thank you, yeah. We're asking someone right here to ask what he noticed.
I notice sensation of happiness, lots of tingly sensations, and maybe also some lightness too as well. Yeah.
And when you released the pebbles?
I didn't feel a sense of letting go necessarily. I just feel a lot of energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong about this at all.
Yeah.
If we did it again and again and again, we'd have different experiences and have many different variations. Any other thought, quandary, question about this? Okay, so this is actually in one, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. As I was thinking about the memories of these feelings that would evoke the feeling itself, so the more negative ones, I generally felt sad and I had tears falling down. I'm also very emotional, but I felt sad, and then when it moved to the positive ones, I felt light within me, felt radiant and really happy. And then it was hard for me to decide which one was heavier, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did feel some release while letting go, but then felt more sensation in my stomach, like a pit feeling. So it was just a very sensatory experience for me.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Yeah. There's somebody behind you. Yes.
Yeah, I found that for me, the once I kind of got into the imagery and like my brain was like, okay, we're in this. I found it a lot easier to fill my hand with dis-ease. And I was getting frustrated at you, like, come on, let me like switch out of this hand.
Hurry up, man! Hurry up!
Too many pebbles falling down.
It's getting heavy here.
But then by the time it was
Yeah.
time to kind of let go, I found that I actually think there was, for whatever reason, there was more of a resistance to letting go of that dis-ease than, and maybe it's because I went, that went first, than the joy. It was a little bit easier to let go and harder to fill that hand. So definitely interesting data coming in.
Yeah, sadly, the research suggests or confirms or suggests that in general, we human beings, we have about 4 to 5 negative thoughts to 1 positive thought. It is not anywhere near balanced. So we have a lot of work. We have a lot of stimuli to work with. And there's a bias towards negative thinking, which may be protective. And also interesting that there's a lifespan thing. We're going to do a lifespan practice in a moment, is that things shift across the lifespan. Younger people, teens, young adults, tend to have way more negative thoughts, negative self-beliefs. And if you're lucky to live long enough, as you get older, the ratio shifts. And in general, you tend to have more positive thoughts, and the number of negative thoughts tends to decrease as you age. There's a lot of theories about this, but this is a very consistent finding across many, many, many research studies. So there's a natural negative bias that maybe is protective or is a residual of other evolutionary and neurobiological stuff. But we all have, and then the thing right this moment is just to recognize this. If you had any positive thoughts, hallelujah. No, really. I've done clinical work, maybe others here. There are some people right this moment living in this beautiful, beautiful San Francisco, right this beautiful planet, right this moment, who wake up in the morning and they have negative self-beliefs, negative thoughts. And it's like a waterfall cascading in the mind-heart. And that's all they experience all their waking hours, unless they're lucky enough to drop into a nice dream. There are people who are living in a living hell. So if you've had some positive reflection, luminosity, knowing of the mind, that's already very hopeful. That shows that there's some psychological flexibility and there's some spaciousness to work with. But there's some people who have, for whatever set of reasons, they don't even experience a positive thought about others or self throughout a whole day. That is a living hell, a hell realm. Yeah? Okay. You had something to say? Then I want to shift to another practice. Oh, okay.
Well, I was just going to say that I had the opposite. I did feel a lot more of the positive. So I guess feels like a good diagnosis for my mood right now, maybe. I don't know. Or my state of mind, or maybe I'm just getting older.
Maybe you're getting older, or maybe you're getting closer
I
to...
think I'm getting older. I'm going to chop it up to that.
Okay, I like that. Oh, here. We have one right here. And then I'll share something else, yeah, after that. Yeah.
I loved what you just shared because it reminds me, a couple of weeks ago, I was with a 90-year-old, I'll just call him a friend, who's currently in ICU, with actually in hospice. He just literally today. But I'm bringing him up because, so it was really the last conversation I had with him face to face. And at some point he said, I asked him, well, how are you doing? Because he was stumbling and fainting, like with some consistency in the last few weeks. Meaning there were several episodes of it. And he said, I'm just blessed to be alive. And so that gives me so much hope, actually, because you kind of look at the circumstances of that, and it was hard. I was so surprised when he had that perspective, right perspective. You'd call it the plasticity of, how he was just engaged in the world. But this leads me to a question about this, because Buddhism, in part, Four Noble Truths, like beginning with, well, life is suffering. So is life a lot of suffering? Or do we weigh the negative remembrances of suffering? Or, it's probably both, that there's actually a lot of joy too. And I'm just curious what you might have to say about this.
Yeah, it's both and. But it's important to understand, as a human, yes, both and. And just having this body means we are a magnet for pain and hurt and decay and deterioration. That's just facts. Having a mind that can take in information and know things, as we see, we will experience joy and pain and hurt and anger and frustration, and the whole thing is part of it, and they all have functions. Now you move to the Buddhist side. I'm visualizing it as a neuroscientist. I'm visualizing the language network, 3 brain regions right here, and there's nothing wrong with that. The neurons, the billions of neurons firing in that language network, but that is the network of inner self-talk. And it gives rise to these thoughts, and other parts to feelings, and other parts to views of self, which we're going to practice in a moment. But remember that in the texts, it describes the awakened mind. The fully awakened mind is not positive or negative. It's neutral. It's not indifferent because it's infused with compassion. It's not positive or negative because it has released all the pebbles. Even positive thoughts, it has released. Because then that makes space for the compassion to move forward. Which is really a very interesting thing, because normally we think, I'm going to have bliss and joy and blah, blah. Yes, and the mind is neutral. The mind is reflective, like think of water. The pebble drops in, and then these beautiful concentric waves can manifest. The awakened mind is ready, not sitting back. It's sitting on the edge, right? You see the images of Tara? Tara is like, I'm ready. The foot is out, the female enlightened mind. I'm ready, I'm out to react, to respond to what occurs in front of me. It's not like this absorbed me. That's not it. So that's a whole other aspect of all this hurt, pain, disease, suffering, is that it gives us energy to respond, or we retreat. It's a choice. All right, apropos of that, we're going to do another practice. Ready? Take a position of comfort and dignity in your chair, however that manifests in your amazing body, your research laboratory, this exquisite body and mind. You too, Okra. You're going to meditate with us, honey? This little doggy here. There might be an enlightened Buddha right there. So bring your eye gaze down or close your eyes. I'm going to guide you. Again, we are going to do visualization. And we are going to travel through the lifespan. You will travel through your lifespan. So begin by just finding your breath. Becoming familiar with this breath, this moment. Using the power of your imagination, I'm going to ask you to visualize yourself in the first few minutes of this lifetime. First few minutes after you were born. Bring an image to your mind of yourself when you were this small, bless you. And I'd like you to notice, what are the qualities? What are the qualities, the adverbs that you would ascribe to this version of yourself moments after you came out of your mother's womb, entered into this life? How would you describe this version of yourself, this small infant? And just notice what adjectives, what qualities. Moving forward in time, can you bring to mind an image of yourself when you were about 10 years old? 10 years old. What did you look like? What were you wearing? What were you doing? Who is this version of yourself? And how would you describe the qualities of this version of yourself when you were about 10 years old? This version of yourself as 10 years old or so. And now let's move forward in time. Say that when you're in your early 20s. You're in your early 20s, you are young adulthood. What do you look like? What does your body look like? How are you dressed? How are you acting? Who is this version of you? How would you describe yourself in your early 20s? Moving forward in time, jump to an image of yourself when you're about 50 years old. You've lived on this planet 5 decades, you've had a lot of experience. What do you look like now? What are your qualities now as a 50-year-old? How would you describe this version of yourself? Moving forward in time, can you generate an image of yourself 10 years into the future from where you are right now? 10 years into the future from where you are, will you look like? How will you move? Who is this version of yourself? How do you relate to this manifestation of yourself? Then moving forward in time, it's the last week of this life, the last few days, the last few breaths of this life. Bring up an image of yourself. Notice what you look like. What are the qualities of this version of yourself at the end of the lifespan? What's the quality of your mind, your heart, at the end of this lifespan? Keeping your eyes closed, figuratively lean back, open the field of view, and can you see and hold the space for all of these different versions of yourself? From birth to death, from beginning to end of this lifespan. All these different versions, iterations of yourself. Is there one version of yourself that is more real or more valid than any other version? Then in your mind's eye, collapse all of these different versions of yourself into one, and then bring your hands together towards the heart and bring all those versions of yourself across the years, the decades, across time, past, present, future. Let them all dissolve back into your heart. Take 3 deep, deep breaths. When you're ready, open your eyes. So you were time traveling. You were activating one of the most evolutionarily powerful functional brain networks that we've ever seen with fMRI, a little bit with EEG, which is the self-referential brain network. 3 or 5 different brain regions that work together as a circuit when you're thinking about yourself. It's the most robust functional brain network I've seen using functional brain imaging. And it totally makes sense. Okay. Can you grab the microphone, please? And a reflection. Is there somebody who'd like to just share, what did you just experience about your own mind stream? About your own self mind stream? Hi.
I needed to be quite positive at the 10 years in advance number. So I was. And what I realized was that I don't know if I'll stay in this space, but I am in a very positive space where I am using my energy right now to drop all those early morning negative thoughts that come in, those without invitation,
Yeah.
that I do not want, and kind of switch to the other hand to reference our first exercise. During that time, I was very reluctant to drop these pedals. I really am grabbing them and I'm using them constantly in the difficult moments. And I find that that really helps. And looking for joy anytime it's available has been very beneficial. So,
Okay.
and I am definitely in the space of your research that I've reached a time in my life when I have the time, the ability, and the interest and the need in focusing on the joyous moments and dropping the others. So I will go forward thinking more about how to release them, the heavy ones that I don't want.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Good. So then, oh yeah, okay, yes, please. Hi.
If you want to speak.
No, I want to hear you.
The part where you said, what is the most authentic? Like when I imagine myself just a few days or hours out of the womb, like just, I was like, could have I been afraid, cold? But I thought, I'm open. I am so open. Like, I don't even know if I had the capabilities of being fearful or having negative thoughts. And then I thought of hours before I die. And as I'm getting older as well, I certainly hope that, those different periods of my life, I've always been really open and trusting to adventure in life. And I'm hoping that that next journey of going somewhere new out of this body, to have that same openness and authenticity as I had as a newborn. And, we often think of old people as babies sometimes, their skin is so soft and sometimes their minds. Depends on the karma. But anyway, I'm hoping I'll be like the baby I was.
Hallelujah. May it be so. Cool. Yeah, and again, there's no right or wrong at all. This is just one, and if we were to do it again, and there are many variations of all of these practices, remember, the different practices are techniques, or technologies, or techniques, methods to explore your mind. Okay, I want to do another one, unless somebody has something to say. Ready? Okay, this one is going to involve some temporary pain, self-induced. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Here we go. So, so I'm going to ask each of us to do the following. You pick a point, look at a part of your left forearm. Look at your forearm. Also, our friends in the audience, you can do this. You look at some in the online. Look at a place in your forearm, and then you're going to use your right hand, these nice little pinchers, and I'm going to ask you to just observe and notice what happens. So you're going to pick a spot on your own forearm, take your fingers, and begin to pinch the skin. So look at your own forearm, not at me. And I want you to just simply notice sensations as you pinch harder or softer, but you pinch until it begins to experience a lot. Notice the color, the shape, the form. Perhaps your mind is labeling something or saying something internally. Look at the color, the shape, and then keep your attention super focused on that spot and let go of the fingers and notice what happens. Keep looking at that spot. Color, shape, form. Okay. Can you grab the microphone? Yeah. Sure. Anyone there? And actually, you can have the microphone. What did you just notice on that spot in your skin, in your forearm?
I'm Jackson. Not,
Hi, Jackson.
not a lot of sensation, honestly. I
Not.
don't think my pinching technique was that good.
Okay, we can work on that. We can work on that.
Yeah, but I did like watching the blood come back. I was a little nervous about the appearance of the spot after, but it started to like redden and it looks nice now. So I enjoyed that, watching the recovery process.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Okay, so given that we have time, some people experience pain. They label it pain. Some people experience pleasure. About 15 to 20% of adults actually sometimes, in certain contexts, experience what we call physical pain as pleasurable. The color comes back, the shape changes, and some of you, I'm guessing, may have noticed that even after you stopped pinching, there was like an ebb and flow of the experience, whatever you called it. If it was painful, it actually became impermanent, changing nature, temporary. The mind labels or projects pain. I don't like it. Then it interprets, I don't like it. Why am I doing this? Why am I hurting myself? Why is he asking me to do this? Ba, 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 ba. Right? The mind starts, right? Interpretive mind. Nothing wrong with that. That's normal. But then if you stay with it, you begin to go like, oh, the blood comes back. There's a release of what I just experienced a moment ago as pain. And again, this is all my experience. So there's another aspect to this, which is, oh my goodness, right this moment, 8 billion humans and countless non-human animals, how many of them are in physical pain right this moment? May I willingly take on the pain so that someone else is free. That's a reappraisal, specifically a compassion for others reappraisal. It's not about me. Oh, I can do that? So now the experience of the pain, the meaning of the physical pain or the emotional pain, when I have pain in my neck or my forearm, has shifted because I'm actually using it as a basis for training my mind, wishing that somebody else be free of their pain. I will carry it temporarily for them. Oh, the pain is not about me. Oh, I'm in relationship with others. Then if you move to shunyata, sometimes translated as emptiness, I have another translation for it. The pain does not exist out there by itself. There are causes and conditions, there's skin, there's sensors, there's blood, There are fingers, there's intentionality, there's this guy Philippe telling me to do this. There are tons of causes and conditions. There is no pain out there, separate, independent, fixed. So another way to translate the word shunyata, which is often translated as emptiness, but you have to immediately ask, emptiness of what? Or interdependent or dependent arising. Dependent on what? Having a mind that projects qualities onto experience. Some of those qualities are accurate, some are not. But the pain is a construct that's developed through an interaction of skin, sensors, past experience, biochemical reactions, language, thought, other people's conceptualities that I've absorbed throughout my whole lifetime contribute to how I shape and project from moment to moment every single thing that I'm experiencing. Other people experience this as pleasure, not as pain. So then this understanding, this practice of shunyata, of understanding the lack of independent existence, the negation of something that never existed in the first place, a pain that is inherent, absolute, independent. There is no such thing. The mind contributes to all of that, the pleasure and the pain, the positive thoughts, the negative thoughts. So just in one little practice like this, and I'm going to make a nicer example. You wake up in the morning, tomorrow morning. I'm going to give you two, because now the last part, I wrote a big word here, integration, right? So integration, what the hell does that mean? Because if we only think or do these practices here or on a cushion, then we miss the point. So here, tomorrow morning, here's something you do. You're lying in bed, you know that you're about to wake up, and but even maybe you open your eyes, maybe even before you open your eyes, you go, oh my gosh, I'm alive. I didn't die in my sleep. Wow. What's going to happen today? Wow. I can breathe. Wow. I have a kitchen and I'm going to go make a cup of tea or coffee or juice. Wow. I can actually bend my knees and move my hips and move out of this bed. May I get out of this bed, not only for my benefit, but for the benefit of others. May I do something today that is not just for me. May I get up, and then when I go to the kitchen, and I do this because I have my wife and 2 daughters, and I get up before everybody, and I love getting out of bed. I get out of bed to be in this world. I go to the kitchen, I make my tea or my coffee, and while it's brewing, think, where the hell did this tea or coffee come from? Costa Rica, Colombia, some beautiful hill I visualize with bushes. Somebody picked the leaves, the beans. Somebody packaged them, roasted them, brought them here, roasted them, burnt them, packaged, put it into containers, and somehow it made its way into my kitchen. And I'm about to pour hot water with my incredible electric hot water thing that does it like in seconds. Where the hell did that energy come from? Who actually has all those engineers and thinkers and people? And finally, everything comes from the sun. I'm actually drinking the sun energy that helped the leaves, the trees, the coffee beans, the tea leaves, that charged the solar batteries, that created the electricity, that heated my water that I just pour in. Suddenly, that is an understanding of dependent arising. Right that moment, with a lot of joy. Anticipatory joy, I'm going to drink this coffee knowing where it came from. I'm going to put on these socks knowing how many thousands of peoples and minds contributed to making these socks halfway around the planet, and somehow it got to my closet. You can take anything in your life and make it part of a practice. So even tomorrow morning, before you get out of bed, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm alive. I can move, I can actually shift my weight and get out of bed and put on my freaking underwear. Wow, that's amazing. I can make the tea. I can make the tea or the coffee for all the other people I love. I can feed okra in the morning. We have a cat, Mustache. Taking joy in the fact that all of these things are here and possible. So another translation for the word shunyata, which I suggest we should use in the Sanskrit, in the same way we use karma. We don't translate the word karma. It has many, many definitions. We keep the Sanskrit word. We should use the same thing for shunyata. Emptiness of what? Dependent arising of causes and conditions. But there's another way I've been thinking about it. You can tell me how it lands in your mind. P cubed, the letter P cubed. Profound, pervasive potentiality. Because everything exists in an interconnected web, interconnected matrix of possibility and potentiality, any given moment, something can arise. Because things are empty, that's how things can actually arise. Because there is nothing fixed, cemented in shape, and you walk out this door, you walk to your car, your bicycle, or down the block, you might encounter another human being, and you might experience a sense of caring for the other. That is possible, depending how we train our mind. Nothing, even the positive thoughts, the negative thoughts, are fixed. It is all plastic, malleable, which is really a nice thing because that means, oh, I can use this in any context, anywhere, with any place, any person. Because nothing is fixed, and there's a plasticity, a playfulness that is possible. Jazz musicians, they hear sounds. Writers, they hear people talking at the bar or walking down the street, saying something. Meditative jazz artists, meditation artists, take what is right here, and that becomes a possibility for practice, for training the mind, the heart, to have insight, wisdom, and to have compassion, caring for the other. So that, I think, is an interesting way of translating the word. Profound, pervasive possibility of potentiality, depending how I interact with the substance of this incredibly beautiful matrix that we're sitting in, that we move through. So now the practice is taken off the cushion, and it's in every moment one can practice training, seeing the reflective nature of the mind, knowing, and heart extending. So I want to finish with a compassion practice. Does this make sense? And this is actually, it becomes fun. It's not burdensome. Because, often, people think, is there anybody here that's new to meditation? Anybody? Okay, so there's a beautiful article that Dusana Dorje, a friend of mine, wrote. The 6 misconceptions about meditation. Oh, it's supposed to calm my mind. Nope. It's only supposed to be done sitting down. Completely wrong. It's supposed to lead immediately to benefits. Yeah, good luck with that. We know everything there is to about meditation. I can go on and on and on. All these misconceptions. There's so many practices that are done listening to music, dancing, kissing, walking, eating, breathing, playing. So when you talk about, the playful mind, the Zen mind, beginner's mind, we can actually walk through our day. Work, sleep, bathroom, eating, farting, burping, whatever, getting angry, there's nothing wrong with that. And it all can become the material, the touch points for, oh, look at my mind. Look at the other person's mind. Oh, look at the suffering. Look at my suffering. Look at how I'm projecting. Look how they're projecting. You can actually make it into a playfulness. And then it becomes continuous and fun. It's not burdensome. I don't have to sit on a cushion for 20 minutes. I don't have to. Yeah, that is good. It's helpful. And integration means to take it out into every single context. All right, let's finish with a little heart practice. All right, enough about that. So I'm going to do another visualization. And again, if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes and bring your hands over your heart. Feel that beautiful, amazing four-chamber heart that across the entire lifespan, this beautiful heart just keeps pumping. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And these lungs, all these lobes of the lung, breathing, breathing. Thank you. And all the neurons in the brain firing, letting me have experience and make meaning out of experience. Thank you. So literally feeling your body breathing, expanding and contracting naturally at its own pace. Nothing to control. Knowing how the breath and the blood, with each inhalation and each pumping of the heart, sends nourishment, literally nourishment, to all the cells in the body, to feed them, to energize them, to help them move and function from moment to moment to moment. This exquisite biology. Using the mind's eye, thinking right this moment, all these incredible beings in this room, wishing to be happy, to be free, to be loved, just like me. Every person in this room has had moments of loneliness, sadness, just like me. Every person in this room wishes to have a meaningful life, wishes to be seen, to be appreciated, just like me. Every person in this room has had moments of angst, confusion, despair, just like me. Then from the heart, a small little vibration arises as a wish. May all these amazing living beings in this room, right this moment, be well, be cared for, be loved. If we expand the field of view a little bit and think about just San Francisco, around 800,000 human beings right this moment, hearts beating, lungs breathing, trying to find food or shelter or friends, wishing to be well, just like me. May they be well. If we expand further and think about California, around 40 million human beings right this moment, breathing, hearts beating, wishing to be safe, warm, just like me. If we expand further and think about the entire North America, several 100 million human beings living in Canada, US, Mexico, right this moment. Hearts beating, lungs breathing, wishing to feel belonging. Wishing to have a meaningful life, just like me. And if we expand further to the entire Mother Earth, visualizing the entire planet, 8 billion human beings right now, breathing, hearts beating, sleeping or awake, wishing to be free from war, from killing, wherever they are, just like me. Wishing to be able to wake up and have food and water and housing, just like me. And if we expand our field of view further, not just human animals, but countless non-human animals, countless, right this moment, also, hearts beating, lungs breathing, wishing to be well, to be loved, just like me. Then beyond just animals, we live in a massively interconnected set of ecosystems that bring plants, food, energy, water. May all of those systems be well, be safe, function. I'm not separate from all of those systems. So just for a moment, imagine the real fact that 8 billion and countless, 8 billion humans, countless animals are taking a breath right this moment. Because they actually are. So then rub your hands, warm those palms. Put them over your eyes. Enjoy the warmth, the energy. And then bring your hands over your heart. And for a moment, actually feel that exquisite interconnectedness with all living beings and living systems. That we are not separate from. Take 2 deep, deep breaths at your own pace. And then gently open your eyes and come back to this visual part of the matrix. So I made a list. I had many more things I wanted to do, but that's the way it always goes. You do what you do. And thanks to Eve for going away and giving us the opportunity to be together tonight. And thanks for Eve for coming back. But yeah, again, remember there's like more than 100,000 different techniques described in the texts, the traditional texts. There's so many techniques because we all need different methods to awaken the mind and the heart and the body and the body. Yeah. Yeah. So. And then, ideally, you have sangha, which we have sangha, which is amazing. Think about how many people are lonely. So sad. And think about how many people feel good showing up here and being with others. Even if you don't speak to anyone, you feel everyone else. Because remember, we appear separate, but we're not. I even know neurobiologically, I can tell you the brain circuits and the functional brain circuits, they're constantly interacting all the time. We don't see it, but it is a biological fact. So we are always being influenced and influencing, nourishing and being nourished by others. In moments of joy and hard stuff, always. It's just biology. It's basic biology. It's beautiful. Love biology. Anyway, it says 8:30. I'm happy to sit and talk to people if you have questions or whatever. If you need to go, it's also completely fine.